Oh, what's up? We got another video. You are gonna love this video, and there's also a possibility, a large one, that you might hate this video as well. So I'll tell you what, I, for one, promise you this one thing, that I don't care. Look at this face. Does it look like it cares? No. First of all, the warning, all right? This is not a political video. So if you have political opinions and you have them in the back of your head, maybe you like to type them online to strangers on the Book of Faces, I have a great place for you to put all your opinions. It's right in here, okay? So you can put them in here. Go ahead and just reach out through the camera. I'll wait. Yeah, no, you through your screen. Yeah, no, all right. Okay, so I'm gonna put mine in here as well. And they can just be zipped up here for the rest of the video. So it's closed, so now you can't get them back out, so you're gonna have to watch the video, and if you basically don't stay to the end, then they're just gonna stay in there forever, and you're not gonna be able to type to random strangers on the internet about your opinion. So you're gonna need to watch this whole thing. But anyways, it's not a political video. That's the main thing that I wanted to get across to you. It really is about the copy, because the copy is so amazing and it needs to be discussed. This letter is just amazing in terms of communication. So without further ado, it's kind of early in the morning, so let's go ahead and press this one down, all right? Got some fresh brew. Yeah. And home, because it's like, you know, where the heart is and stuff, or something like that. And I don't know about you guys, but if you drink French press, I like to keep a majority in there so it stays hot and warm, and then you can just have whatever. All right, without now further ado, let's get cracking into this video. So, really the whole purpose of this video is because I had someone close to me who received a letter from Mr. President Donald J. Trump, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Can I read that? And they're like, sure. And then I started reading it, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, I know Donald Trump, you know, the Don, the orange guy, he's got his whole team of marketers and PR people and, you know, basically backing him, right? Marketing team for his, for the GOP, right? For his candidacy. And I understand that. However, he's also always been very good at one-on-one communication and one-to-many communication. So he's very, very clear with whatever he says. Love him or hate him, again, I don't care. This face, it's, I told you before, so yeah, don't care. This is mainly the thing that he does the best. One of the things that he does the best is actually that he communicates so vitally clear, because he uses simple words, very simple language, very down to earth, kind of like common man, even though he's a multi-billionaire. Like, he uses the language of the people, right? Make America great again. That's 4 easy words. Like, that's really simple, you know? It's basically just straightforward communication. That's how you get the point across. So the main thing that I wanted to communicate to you in this video is we're gonna hop into this thing and we're gonna just dissect it for the copywriting aspects. You know, why it's good, why it has sales and urgency wrapped in it, you know, why it has a very direct communication, why the thing that he's asking you to do with his different calls to actions, why they're so clear, how he uses repetition, how he uses persuasion, how he uses tactics like us versus them to get basically the buy-in and the polarization from the market. So his market is the audience of Americans, obviously 370 plus million people. However, it's really not everybody, because some people hate his guts and a lot of people love him, and the people who love him are the ones who are going to be responding. So that's who he's really targeting. So this is old school direct response marketing, direct mail. He sent out an entire personal letter from me to you to millions and millions and millions of people. And I'm sure, and I don't know the numbers right now, obviously, because it's too early, but I'm sure that this letter is going to pull very well, and I'm sure that he's going to get the buy-in and the money and the raising of funds that he's looking for. So without further ado, let's hop into that letter, and we're really going to just dissect this piece by piece and see what we can grab out of it for our copywriting skill set. Let's roll. All right, so we're here inside the actual letter. So this is page 1, right? President Donald J. Trump, right across the Trump. So that's a headline, right? That's his main headline, basically. It's his entire name. Like, you know, if it's coming from this guy, and if you don't like it, you can basically go away. So obviously he's repelling and attracting straight from this headline, just by putting his whole entire name up there and telling you that it's Monday morning. He's about to market to you, essentially, right? So anyways, let's crack into this, right? Dear fellow patriot, you know I hate saying this, but we're in trouble. All right, right off the bat, he's saying something that, you know, is going to scare people and freak them out a little bit and be like, oh, we're in trouble. Like, oh my God, like I need to do something about this. Like, it's going to stir up all your fight or flight mechanisms right there. And then he goes right into the saying that the radical leftists of this country have taken control of the Democratic Party, taking on new extremist supporters at an alarming rate. You know, again, scare tactics. Now they're coming directly for the White House. It sounds like there's literally just going to be bombing or sniping or something on the rooftop. Like, they're coming for us. They're coming directly for our White House. Like, oh my God. You know, so right off the bat, he's basically just wrapping this entire thing in fear and emotion and urgency. So, and they aren't, and by the way, he's obviously going straight for the leftists, which is obviously the other party, and calling them radicalists, and also basically just doing the us versus them right off the bat, drawing a line in the sand, be like, look, this is our enemy right here. Are you with us or against us, right? And they aren't doing it alone. The Democrats have teamed up with the fake news, all caps, and will never, media who would never tell you the truth about our amazing accomplishments, you and me, us, the GOP, the Grand Old Party, the Republicans, us versus them. Instead, they're running 24/7 coordinated media campaign to tear me down with baseless, politically motivated accusations that have gone nowhere. So all caps and underlined, you know, he's really emphasizing the things that he wants to say, like fake news, never, and, you know, going nowhere. The Democrats know that Sleepy Joe Biden, which is a funny little nickname, you know, he always came up with little nicknames for his opponents like Clinton and Hillary Clinton and Sleepy Joe, you know, because he's not able to finish a sentence at times. And there's like, can't defeat me, you know, whatever. He's basically saying, you know, this is our main enemy. Obviously, the fake news media is our main enemy, and the Democrats, they are, but this is the guy who's leading it all, so we really need to pay attention to Sleepy Joe Biden. Can't defeat me in November, of course, on ideas alone. So he's saying it can't just, you know, beat me in a fair fight. So instead, what they need to do is resort to this. They need to resort to this. I need conservative patriots like you, obviously he knows his audience, all across the country to help me fight back. Please make your voice heard by filling out this edition of the 2020 baseline survey. So there's this first call to action. I need you to fill out this survey. I'm going to take note of this as well because this is important. So just remember that this is his first call to action. The answers you will provide will be carefully and immediately analyzed by my campaign to help shape and manage our strategy all the way up until the election. It's crucial here that we have a constant flow of data coming in so we always know exactly where the voters stand and where and are able to refute the lies and misinformation that is being spread by the Democrats and their allies in the mainstream media. So basically, again, just saying that, you know, this whole section is saying, remember, these are the enemies. They're doing all this stuff. They're doing the lies, and the media is false. The enemies that we have are bad. They're bad. Okay. Anyways, I'd also like to ask you to make a special contribution of $2,800, $1,000, $500, $250, or even $100, or even $45. So basically, what he's doing here is he's doing the call to action, which is number 2. So I'm gonna put number 2 here because number 1 is up here. So he's doing this first call to action, a little intro. It's a light intro, like, all right, here, please fill out this survey, right? This is the main thing I want you to do. It's number 1, you're not asking for anything. It's like very simple. Just fill out the survey. Number 2 is like send $2,800 or $1,000 or $500, $250, $100, or even $45 to the Trump Make America Great Again committee. So T-MAGA-C, right? This is this whole thing. Like, this is what people are rallying behind anyways. But my point here is this is called the anchor. We're gonna put an A here for anchor. So this is the $2,800. Like, who's gonna send him $2,800 right off the bat from reading this letter? Some people for sure, because that's, you know, they're diehard Trump fans. They're gonna send him money, whatever he asked for, right? But the point is to be like, okay, 2,800. Oh well, okay. If you don't have that, then how about at least 1,000, or maybe 500, or 250, or how about 100, or even $45? You know, $45. Who doesn't have $45 in their pocket? That's pretty good. So he's really saying whatever you can do. It goes from $2,800 to $45. So this is called anchoring technique. I'm sure you heard of it before. Take the big price, put it next to the smallest price you have, make it seem very reasonable what you got, right? All right. To help ensure my campaign has the resources necessary. I mean, he's a multi-billionaire, so I think we'll probably be all right. But just in case, you know, this is making you feel like you have a job to do. Making the it's not begging, it's not a donation. It's basically helping my campaign make sure that it has resources necessary to turn the info that you provide into action. So basically, it's all about you here. He knows your audience, or his audience is not talking about him. He's mentioned himself, you know, a few times, like I right here, and I, you know, there's a couple. But it's mainly like you, and you again and again, saying that, you know, you need to do this, or I'd love for you to do this, I invite you to do this, it's us versus them, blah, blah, blah. It's not about Trump, it's about you. He knows how to market to an audience, right? Mainstream media has been everything but fair to me. They continue to tout Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer's anti-American agenda while tearing me down. So it's like playing the victim card a little bit, making you feel bad for him because, you know, they're after him and they never stop. And even worse, they'll continually prop up Joe Biden in his quest to beat me in November. I mean, that's the contest, right? It's you versus another guy, but he makes it sound like, you know, they're propping up him. Like, how dare they do their jobs or whatever? Like, how dare they market their candidate? it's urgent. Again, you know, urgency, scarcities are like, look, this is the whole tone of this thing is like very urgent and scarce. That you get back to me as quickly as possible. It's really, really important that you email Donald Trump, right? We're moving very quickly as the election nears, and we'll continually be collecting new data all the way up until we secure another historic victory. Sorry. So that's obviously until we do this. This is not if, but when. This is basically saying, look, we're in, we're gonna win, we're doing this. It's called basically future framing and assuming, you know, closing the sale, assuming the sale, right? So it's what you do in successful sales when you know that you're gonna that you want the outcome and you want the client to do what you say, basically, which is sign up. This is what you're doing. Up until when we secure another victory, right? If we don't hear from you as soon as possible, then our results will be incomplete. So basically, it's like, if you don't do this, dude, like, we are screwed. Like, this thing is relying on you specifically to however many hundreds of millions of people that he's sending this to. Please don't wait to return your completed 2020 baseline survey. Again, there's the repetition of the call to action. Please don't wait to return this survey, all bold, 2020 baseline survey. This is the second time he's asked for this, and it comes up many more times in this entire letter. And a special contribution. So that's the second one, you know, a special contribution, not money, a special contribution, okay? And he says also, again, over please, another super clear call to action, making it really, really clear what he wants people to do. So we'll go to page 2 here. This is one of the most important elections in the history of America. Framing again, you know, this is if the Democrats somehow lie and cheat their way to victory, somehow, that's the only way they could win. If they could lie and cheat their way, it's not because people voted for them, not because people like their ideas, not because people like the candidates. It's just somehow that they lie and cheat their way into victory. It'll be a disaster for our Constitution. Okay. They're already planning on destroying the integrity of our democracy. So basically, like, if they win, our America is screwed, okay? By forcing everyone to vote, every American to vote by mail, likely stealing the election as a result. Because again, they're not fighting fair, they can never fight fair. That's what he's saying. The whole framing is leading down the rabbit hole. And I want to make a little quick note here as well, because whenever you start a frame, you got to remember that you need to keep it going the entire way, because what you're doing in your audience's mind is you are building upon these actual agreements in their head. So let's say I say blue is blue and you think blue is green, and I keep saying blue looks blue to me and you think it's green. Everything that you say in your head, everything that you read when I would have written basically in my copy will be like, no, that's not right, no. And then finally you're just gonna be like, no, I disagree with so much of this that I can't even watch anymore. And then you're gonna click it off and you're not gonna buy whatever, right? So a note here is that a frame needs to be kept throughout the entire sales message, because if you start by saying, look, this does look blue, it's kind of a cerulean, and then your market's like, oh yeah, it is a cerulean, it looks exactly like that, like that's how I see it too. And you're like, okay, well, since this is blue, what you're gonna look at is the contrast between that blue and green. And the people are like, oh wow, I've never noticed that. And like, but someone who thinks the blue actually is green, they're just gonna be lost. It's a silly little example, but you get what I'm saying. The frame is so powerful and so important. It's vital that you always keep on that frame wherever you started, because you're making agreements on the first agreement, right? The first agreement is where you make rapport. And then later on, you're building those arguments on top of that like a house. And so if your house's foundation isn't strong, then your whole audience is going to be just off. They're going to be not agreeing with you even more and more as you go down the ladder. So keep that in mind when we're reading the rest of this letter. So basically, yeah, he says after this will make it easier than ever for the Democrats to rig the election. Again, cheating, stealing, lying, to allow millions of illegal immigrants to vote, which is what conservatives hate. Also, you know, build the wall. That's part of the whole thing that he's built the campaign on, right? Immigrants to vote for the Democrats up and down the ballot. And I promise you it will be much, much worse than Obama. Again, that's the last thing conservatives want. It's like, oh my God, Obama, no more than that, please. Like, obviously Biden was Obama's running mate, so yeah, and VP. So it's like, okay, well, if you think that's bad, obviously Biden in charge is going to be worse than Obama, which makes a conservative, you know, run for the hills. So I know our country was mismanaged and laughed at by the rest of the world for 8 years under Barack, you know. So basically he said, like, Barack sucks, and Joe's going to be even worse. So Biden has sold his soul to the most radical members of the Democrat Party. So using some kind of Illuminati like messaging here or whatever, some sellout type of Hollywood stuff. Pretty much the most extreme way you could ever frame any of this. Again, he's an extremist, and that's why he's getting emotional responses. To the most radical members of the Democratic Party, and is planning to take our country down a whole new big government socialist path. So basically, if you hate socialism, which is a lot of people like, and you hate big government, you know, those are the two things that you don't want together. You don't want a big government that has a socialist regime that's not communist, you know, not capitalist. It's more focused on the totalitarianism, right? So this is the whole thing that just basically will make a conservative shake in their boots. So again, to call them urgently to the scarcity of the action that they have. They need to be taking action, or else something's going to just die. Like somebody's going to die. The Democrats were quick to throw out your individual votes. Like, can you believe that? Your individual liberties, not anyone else, your liberties. Like they messed with you when the COVID happened, right? So liberties during the COVID-19 pandemic, and even though we all saw how Trump managed that, which is funny, and I have no faith that your rights would be restored when they have control, total control. So the Democrats have become tyrannical. So basically they're saying, or he's saying that, you know, the Democrats, we're giving them too much power. They're going to make a big new government, socialist path, blah, 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 and kind of shifting the blame here again. Like, this is a whole like smear campaign to the entire Joe Biden campaign, candidacy, and of course the Democrats, which he hates. So, and when we work with the Democrats to draft a stimulus bill to help protect our economy, obviously this is the whole reason that he tried to do it, right? Protect our economy. So he's saying like if we did this reasonable, simple thing, Nancy Pelosi had the urgently needed relief package hostage. So basically he's just framing it again and saying this was urgently needed. We had to have this. And the relief package, you know, stimulus bill, right? Hostage, like that's the most vital visual language that you could be using on there, right? Until she was able to stuff the bill with items that fit only her big government socialist agenda. So again, you got great repetition, which is something great that Trump is great at, is the big government socialist agenda that had nothing, all caps, nothing to do with protecting Americans from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, which of course he did very well, right? So anyways, you see what he's doing. He's going back and forth. He's blaming everything on them, of course, because this is what people do when they want to pass the buck. They want to pass blame. They want to be like, no, screw this guy, screw this team, screw that person. We're going to be just the best because this is what we do. We're better. And that's what you have to do, I guess, to win, you know, political elections, because you need to be polarizing. People need to hate you. Some people need to love you. And again, in case you're forgetting, we have this bag and it's still zipped closed. So we're not talking politics here. We're talking the copy. If you want to politic with other people, you need to be able to like see both sides, but you also need to have an open mind and be able to put that aside and be able to look at the copy for the marketing if you want to actually take something from this. So remember, keep your ideas in the bag, just chill out, and we'll go back to this. So, do you want to see America turn into a big government socialist again? Country like Venezuela. Third time he's repeated the big government socialist thing. Fear from Venezuela, you know, a country that has food shortages, and of course the currency is hyperinflated. A country currently experiencing unemployment of 44%, which is just astronomical. That's exactly what we'll get from Joe Biden and his allies Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. So basically, if you vote for Joe, you're gonna get Venezuela. All of our amazing accomplishments, again, it's you and me, will immediately be reversed with that Sleepy Joe near the Oval Office. So again, if we let him, it's almost like letting a senile guy through some intercom or something. Like if we let Sleepy Joe near the Oval Office, like he's a grown man, you know. It's like it's just like the belittlement and the kind of like a personification of the things that he says are just funny. But this is the whole frame that he's taking it, right? Just think of all the progress we've made together, and all that will be gone with the moment the Democrats take over. Together, this whole party, we've done this all together. We've renegotiated fair trade deals with Mexico and Canada and China, successfully eradicated 2 of the world's top terrorist leader. 2 conservative judges have been confirmed, so spelling doesn't really matter here as much, but you know, like it's all caps and it's all emotion, right? To the Supreme Court. The wall, again, all the wall that people love, that part of what got him in the office, right? At the southern border is on its way to completion. Guided our economy through a global pandemic, right? Super well. We handled that really well. Totally not very many cases in COVID in the U.S. People have not died at all. Super safe here. But the point is that he's really bringing it out. He's like, look, we did this, that, and the other, and I want you to make sure that you remember that we are in it together. You know, we did this. It's our party, right? So it's the polarization. It's making sure that we have the audience and it's us versus them. And this is really important when you're writing the copy. You need to remember that it's really is, you know, a we thing, you know, in terms of like what our market is and what I'm leading you to do. And, you know, whether it's a weight loss or a supplement or financial product or maybe an e-commerce thing or something, right? Courses, whatever. It's us. Like, we're on the bandwagon together and we're going to complete this, and it's you that has the responsibility to take action and to, you know, change your life, right? So this is the whole thing that he's using. It's very simple, but it's back and forth. It's like making a team effort, and then obviously making an enemy, whether it's a straw man or not. The enemy is the us versus them. That frame works very, very well. Frank Kern has always harped on this for many years, and it just simply works. So You see, we made a meaningful change in Washington, and I refuse to just stand by and let all the crazed left take that away. So I'm not going to just stand by and let nothing happen, or let all this happen. The world will be dealing with the effects of this pandemic for years to come. On November 3rd, you will have to decide who is better suited to bring our country forward from this unprecedented historical event. Is it Joe Biden and his spend now, ask questions later approach? Again, another little subtle jab with his fiscal policy. Or do you believe my track record of incredible accomplishments? So it's like, that guy, this idiot, or my amazing, awesome Hall of Fame accomplishments. You know, it's just simple framing, right? Throughout my first term will help our country thrive in the next 4 years and revive our economy. Again, another simple call to action, making it really simple what you need the guy to do or the gal to do. Page 3, if we're going to be successful this fall, again, it's us. My team needs to paint the most accurate picture of the voters as soon as possible. It's vital that you return your completed survey. Again, return your completed survey. This is the third or fourth time he's asked to do that call to action, right? And a special contribution. Again, not money, not donation, but a special contribution in the next 10 days. This is the way of kind of obfuscating the actual need. So special contribution, people know it's money subconsciously. It registers that way. But there's a bunch of different ways that you want to say money, an offering or a payment or buy now or instant access or add to cart, whatever. A lot of ways that kind of soften the blow, that remind the person that you're going to be, taking your wallet out and using it for, depleting the bank account numbers. Like, you got to kind of soften the blow for people, but making sure that they're taking action. So that's why he's saying a special contribution here rather than, like send me money in the mailbox. All right. Anyways, this is the greatest political movement our country has ever seen. So this is literally it. It's not any of the past presidents, not any of the things we've done, any things we've accomplished, any of the trades that we've created in the economy that we built. It's literally, this is the greatest. This is the greatest one right here. This one, me or Joe. So, again, kind of hyping this whole entire thing up even more. Our country has ever seen. Now the radical left is going to do anything they can do to tear it down. Again, the enemy is going to ruin it. So you got to basically hop on board. This is like, hop on board with me right here. Me, okay. I'm counting on you to help get the truth out about the great strides we've made for our nation. Otherwise, the Democrats will completely drown our success with the lies and deceit. Again, they can't play fair. They just have to cheat and lie. Yeah, it's us versus them. They've already spent the majority of our first term trying to block my conservative agenda through any means necessary, and including bogus impeachment proceedings. So again, he is recommending that he has this agenda that's better. He's also admitting that the conservative agenda is kind of what he's going for. So this is his plan right here. So he is kind of doing the what I call the HTB. I used to do the breakdown of actual writing sales letters, right? HTB, I call that the the honest truth bearer. The HTB is basically when you make an admission. It can be a damaging admission, right? It's like, look, I am doing this. I am trying to sell you, or I do have a few flaws in the thing. It's not, the course isn't perfect, but it does, help you get this, that, and the other, right? So this is called the HTB. So when I was actually, I kind of made this little acronym up just because I would write in the margins of all the direct response sales letters that I would hand copy, years ago. And every time I saw one of those, I would just be like, oh, that's a damaging admission. An HTB, it's an honest truth bearer. Basically saying, look, I do have an agenda here. It's conservative, but if you're aligned with that, if you're on my team, if you're on the Republican Party, then you're gonna vibe with that. You're gonna be like, yeah, okay, you have an agenda. Like, I'm with that agenda. I want you to advance that. So it even really just stacks up more bonus points in his cred, and also the damaging admission makes people trust you more because you're building rapport because you're not perfect. So I asked that you please return a special contribution. Again, this is the second or third, fourth, fifth time that he's asked for the money. The exact same sentence as well, right? So I asked you to please return a special contribution, same framing there for the wording, of $2,800, $1,500, $250, $100, or even $45 to T Magazine. So basically, he's saying the exact same thing where it's bolded, the same anchoring technique, right? And $2,800 or whatever, and then going down the line in each one of these, $1,000, $500, $250, even lower, and then the last one seems very reasonable, right? So he's probably going to most likely get $100, $45, maybe $250, but I don't see a whole bunch of people sending him $3,000 or whatever. It's going to take millions of dollars that he's literally just got parked in his checkings accounts and investments to enable us to enhance us voter outreach, strengthen our grassroots operations. Like, that's, grassroots, come on, dude. Like, you're a multi-billionaire. Like, the point is the money's there. Like, obviously he's just saying that, like, you need to buy in. Basically, you need to be on my team, and I want you to show that by completing this survey and sending some money through. So obviously he's not going to fund everything himself, but the point is that we need you. Otherwise people don't feel like and they do, to be fair, need to raise money for the political elections and all that. And the campaign costs a lot of money, and not everyone's just going to pay for that. But the thing is that he wants you to feel like you're engaged, like you're part of the party, right? Especially if you're in the Republican Party, like get in on this. We need you. We need you to send money, send the survey in. So he's asking for this over and over and over, making the call to action very, very clear, and also repeating that with the urgency and the scarcity that you send the money in and send us the survey. The Democrats are spending at levels we've never seen before. Can't afford to fall behind. The only way I can do that is by having a campaign of war chest. My campaign war chest, a bunch of money stacked, that is never short of funds. Whether you can send $2,800, $1,000, $500, $250, $100, or even $45. Again, the exact same thing in bolded, the exact levels of the money that it just keeps going over and over, right? Please don't hesitate. Every dollar you send in will put towards building operations, state-of-the-art campaign organization in all 50 states. My big win in 2016 wouldn't have happened if I hadn't built a substantial campaign and network in states where Republicans normally don't have a chance. So again, a little bit of the underdog, a little bit of the oversell, where the underdog gets a chance to actually win. It was our grassroots successes in these states that propelled us to historic victory. Right. Grassroots, right? Yeah, okay. The real reason Democrats and the media are spending lies about me, again, the same thing, same jabs, same pain points, because people who watch the media and are on the right really hate the media as well, so they hate different stations and watch the other ones or whatever, right? So if he says that and he keeps driving that pain point home, he's going to remember to convince you that, and especially when you already believe it yourself. It's because they're hell-bent on destroying a strong relationship I have with my biggest ally, you. So it really comes all down to you. Like you're the main thing. The Democrats' real goal is to turn you away from me. So it's basically like, turn your face from God. Like, stop worshiping me. Like, oh my God, like what would happen if the light and the connection from us got severed? Like you would not have your leader, your idol, your God. And it's, again, us versus them. The enemy is trying to turn you away from it. It sounds really similar to Genesis, Revelation, Bible stuff. So if you notice that, it's very funny, but it is one of those things where people read that and like, oh my God, like, yeah, you're right. Like if they're on this side, this team, right? Team Trump, like they really are going to be like scared at all the things that he's saying, and it's really rooting in a subconscious way because we're programmed to follow leaders and authorities. So it's a long-term, tens of thousands of years of evolutionary psychology. So really looking up to the authority that's going to be like, oh, if we turn them away from me, like what would happen? We'd be in the dark. We wouldn't know what to do, right? Again, kind of drilling that fear home. Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, Jerry Nadler, Chuck Schumer knew as soon as they started this impeachment process, it would never result in my leaving office. So in 2016, smaller dollar donations, again, like $45, whatever, right here, right, fueled this campaign to a historic victory, all caps. Despite what the fake news media said, our movement grew tremendously and we came out winning. So, hashtag winning. So basically you are literally just screaming at the audience, but these are the things that you want to emphasize, and that's what you want people to read it like that, right? But now the Democrats know they can't beat me, and now that not when I have you on my team. Again, it's really all you. You're the person who is making the difference. Really, because yes, you are voting, so you're the one making the difference. But again, this is just like you. It's right here. I mean, it's like banging that home, making sure that you remember that you're important. Instead of promoting a positive policy agenda, right, because everything that he says is super positive, so he's never negative. So basically he's saying instead of like adding good vibes to the mix, which is just funny if you know Trump, but like, which they don't have. Again, it's like not a lot of people in politics do have the whole good vibes thing. Like Democrats and their allies have taken to a tactic of spreading lies, again, lies and poisoning my relationship. Poison, like what does poison do? It kills you. Yeah, you don't want to have that thing. So my relationship with my core supporters. So again, they're spreading lies and they're just poisoning us. So basically they're down to poisoning us now. So they're just evil. So basically he's painting the whole picture that the Democrats on the other side are evil. It's not only that it's like a red or blue thing, it's a life or death thing. Like you need to vote for him now or else like literally everything will just blow up. Like America's gonna blow up and go back to the socialist agenda. So just remember that when you're doing this, it really does need to come out like this. Like your copy needs to flow from the tongue. Like it really needs to be a persuasive message, because the people who are reading this, I know that if you're a Democrat and if you hate the hell out of Trump, you're probably just like throwing up in your trash can right now. And again, like still got the bag of political opinions in there, still locked. So I don't know what happened, but like you're probably bent over in your trash right now. But the other side, you got to remember, you got to put that on hold, put that on ice for a second. The other side is eating this up like candy. Like they are sucking it up, So if you are this polarizing, then your marketing messages will either hit or just not at all. And that's what you want. You don't want people to be just kind of gray on your thing. You don't want to be like gray matter. Like, oh yeah, this is like whatever. Like I kind of wishy-washy. I don't really care what happens. You want them to be either gung-ho or I hate you. So that's what he's doing here. He's really good at that. He's been really dialing that for a number of years, right? First action you can take to help fight back is fill out your survey right now. Boom, fill out your survey right now. Couldn't be that much clearer at all to do the call to action. This is like the 5th time he's asked for the survey. We are constantly adjusting our survey to recruit new suppliers, and this requires the most up-to-date data as possible. So I ask you return, boom, 6 or 7 times your completed survey within 10 days. Again, urgency or of receiving it. The survey will only take 5 minutes. Again, showing people how easy it is to just do this thing. 5 minutes, man, come on. 5 to 7 minutes to complete, and will play a huge part in our final election strategy. Okay, so where are we at? We got page 4. The sooner I hear from you, the better. The 2020 election is only a few short weeks away. We can't let the Democrats use their dirty tactics, again, spreading lies, deceit, and poison to get an edge on us. Again, this is really just hyping it up and make it really emotional, make sure that people are really responding and they hate everyone on the other side and they vote for him. Please return a special contribution. Again, this is not money. It's not a donation, special contribution. This is the number like 8th time he's asked for the money. He's good at that. He knows exactly how to sell. 2,800, $1,000, $500, 250, 100, even 45 bucks along with the completed survey today. So this is like the millionth time that he's asked for this. These are the 2 things he keeps banging home. He's really, really banging home the call to actions, either complete the survey or send a contribution or both. And that's literally what he just bangs home again and again every day, right? That's exactly what you need to do in your sales letters, in your ads, in your emails. You need to get people on the right page by literally telling them exactly what to do and repeating it. So this is, I'm gonna put a big R here for the repetition. But basically the R is really the most important part, because you've got to tell people exactly what to do, how to do it, where to do it, and really just tell them again. And Dan Kennedy, I think what he used to say was like, you got to tell people what you got to tell them, and then you're going to tell them, and then you're going to tell them what you just told them. And it's very, very true, because this is how, again, really, this is how we remember things and how they sink in at a deep level. So you need to do that repetition in every piece of your ads and your sales message all the time in your copy. So your immediate contribution, again, assuming the sale, like you're gonna pay me, obviously. So your immediate contribution will play a huge part in funding a full range of campaign initiatives and research. This whole thing is basically saying where the money's going. Voter registration, grassroots, get out of the vote programs, right? Get out the vote program. Most importantly, though, it will help us build an outreach operation that can fight back against the massive nonstop propaganda campaign. So massive, it's huge, it's also nonstop, they don't ever give up, and it's a propaganda campaign. So basically he's framing this as just the whole lies and deceit angle. The Democrats, obviously the enemy, or in the media, of course, also their enemy, have launched to destroy me and the Republican Party, right? So again, playing a little bit of the victim and the underdog, even though he's the president of the United States of America, and the Republican Party, right? This is his whole thing. It's like, look, it's us versus them, dude. Like, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Despite the Democrats' attacks and stonewalling, we still passed the largest tax cut in America's history. The size of the federal government is being reined in, and we're moving forward to fix our nation. So this whole thing is like what I've already done. I've already done this as president, so if you love me, just remember all the great stuff I did, right? Forward to fix our nation's broken immigration system. Again, these are the pain points that you are holding against your audience. Replace our aging infrastructure, tap into our country's huge energy assets, rebuild our military, and put our nation on a strong path to success for years to come. So not only did he use like 3 or 4 pain points stacked on top of each other, he also put them in their personal heaven as well. So taking them from their personal hell, putting the audience in their personal heaven by showing them where he's going and what we've already done. So all the positive benefits he also used. So he's basically saying like, look, this is all the stuff that we did already and we're going to continue to do it. And this is where your money's going. So you got to remember that not only are people moving away from pain, but they're also moving towards pleasure. And you want to remember to bang home these consistent, pain points as well as persuasive elements that are positive on that right side that are very, very good for them, that they would love to do and get benefit out of, and not just remember, to pick one or the other, right? So that's very important. Anytime that you're putting a sales message in front of an audience that you need to remember that you have to drill home their pain points as well as their benefits that they would see from the solutions you're selling. But if Joe Biden manages to beat me in November, all that will be gone. So basically putting something away that's positive, making them feel all the warm and fuzzies, and then taking it away. Like, look, this is going to be painful. It's going to be gone forever. Again, you can do this with your audience offers, the scarcity and the urgency that you have to basically be like, look, if you don't take action right now, this is going to be gone. So obviously Trump, the master salesman, and whoever's the beast copywriter that's already writing this stuff, yeah, they're doing really well on this messaging, right? So the Democrats have made it abundantly clear they have no interest in protecting the needs of American people, just attacking me with political grandstanding that helps only themselves. So again, they're just self-serving, horrible demons that don't do anything. They're bad, and they really just are not even focused on the agenda. They just want to not protect Americans, and they want to just, slap me. So despite fierce criticism in the fake news media, which is, again, he says this 8 million times in his life. He loves to say that. It's a repetition. It really works. It drives home the point, and also helps you get closer to audiences. And their Democrat partners, blah, 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 with my dedication to the American people has never wavered. So I've always been on your side. Just never forget that. I never cared what they think about my decisions, but I do care what you think. Again, it's all back to you. I don't care what they think, screw them, but I love you. This is a pivotal moment in American history, and I need your help. If we let the Democrats take over this November, the consequences will be dire for the economy. So after this crazy COVID pain, a lot of economy has just shriveled up. It did kind of recover because all the Fed pumped a bunch of money back into it. But again, this is like a really big pain point for people. People out of jobs, people are losing their money, their savings, their homes, their investments, blah, blah, blah. So that's a real big pain point, again, for American people. So please fill out your 2020 baseline survey, and make a special contribution. That fun little phrase again, 2,800, 1,000, 500, 250, 100, or even 45, number 2. So we've got those two main things. So this is literally right here. That was a horrible circle, but this is literally exactly, wow, that was really awful. I'm gonna just do this again. This is exactly what he is wanting people to do right here. Like, this is it. He's telling you, look, fill out the survey and then give me some money. That's it. Like, the very last line is saying your immediate response is critical to our success in November. So it's you. Please let me hear from you in the next 10 days. So again, scarcity and urgency, all that. And then of course, it's giving you the exact thing that he wants you to do in the calls to action right before he closes the message. And then with a little bit more scarcity in this line. Okay, so PS, also like all boss copywriters, everyone is gonna leave a PS. The purpose of the PS is twofold. One fold is to wrap up the entire message in a very, very succinct way, so everyone who read it knows exactly what to do. The second fold of the purpose of a PS message, postscript, is to say, look, if you didn't read this whole message, that's cool. This is like 80 pages on a sales letter or whatever, right? If you just skip to the bottom, that's totally fine. Here's the entire offer in like a paragraph. So that's twofold, right? It's either to wrap up everything that the person is saying in the message, and then basically if they read everything, they're getting everything right in one piece. Or the second fold, the second purpose is to literally for people who just skipped all the way to the bottom, they just want to read everything, they don't care, they want to read it right now, and that's what they do. So they do it, and then they decide if they want to take action, right? So we're only weeks away from the November election. We absolutely cannot trust Sleepy Joe. Again, the enemy is Sleepy Joe, and he's calling him Sleepy Joe to slander him. To bring our economy forward out of this pandemic, again, we're still in a COVID pandemic, so don't forget that. To beat the radical Democrats, again, the leftists and the social government, blah, 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 I need your help as soon as possible. Please fill out your 2020 baseline, so call to action number 1, and make an immediate contribution. A little bit more urgency focus on this action. It's not a special contribution anymore, it's immediate. And $2,800, $1,000, $500, $250, $100, even $45 to the Trump Make America Great Again committee right away. Thank you, and God bless America. All right, God bless America is something he also loves to say. So remember, this is a perfect audience piece, a perfect marketing message in a direct mail letter in sales copy, direct mail, direct response formula that is so well executed. And I'm sure, props to if you're watching this and you're the copywriter, props to this. This is a beast letter, and it's really, really well done. So whoever is on their team, probably getting paid 200 grand or whatever for this sales letter, is literally just a beast of copy. So I'm sure that he wrote maybe some of this, or he had some of these ideas, or he worked it out with one of their PR people or whatever. But the point is that this is sharp and polished. This is no accident. This is a direct mail letter, obviously to his conservative audience, direct from him and to the the audience that he's serving. And telling all the pain points that he needs, putting the scarcity in there, making the calls to action very clear, putting everything in there so it's so clear what exactly to do, how to do it, and everything else. And also, so before we wrap up this video as well, I want to show one more part, because the survey as well is in there. It's included in this direct mail letter, of course, and then the way is to fill out your Visa, MasterCard, and whatnot if you want to pay him. The survey is obviously not just general regular words. Obviously there's the same framing and vocabulary and us versus them stuff that's in there. So I'm gonna pop into it real quick to show you that when you're looking at things like this, and when you want people to take action, again, if you especially know the audience, which is always crucial, you want to go back and remember, you know, how to tweak their minds and their vocabs a little bit, just so you're on the same resonance with them and you're pitching them something that they are more likely to receive well and take action on, instead of just have some blank, you know, non-framed kind of like objective view of your writing. This is the same thing he's doing here. So without further ado, I'm gonna pour one of these because it's been 30 minutes or so. Yeah, almost 40. Okay. Get a little bit more caffeinated. That was like, I don't know how long this letter is, but probably, you know, a couple thousand words at least. So anyways, let's go back into the next level, which is the last page. And yes, so he's saying, you know, what age you are, right? The likelihood of voting, making sure that you will vote or you won't vote, whatever. See kind of where you are. First question, do you support Nancy and Chuck's efforts to oust President Trump by, you know, using any tool at their disposal, including impeachment, you know? So I'm not gonna read every single one of these, obviously, but this is like loaded with just loaded questions, like packed full of loaded questions. Like oust, you know, again, oust him, it means getting him out from using any tool at their disposal, right? Like, because they're cheaters and liars, right? Even impeachment, all caps, like, can you believe it? Impeachment, you know, isn't, how ridiculous, right? Do you support the Constitution and the rights it bestows? Like most conservatives could say, obviously, yeah, hell yeah. Right to bear arms, you know, the Second Amendment, of course, most people are going to say yes. Hardly anybody's going to oppose that, right? So this is the type of thing, like, you support the idea that the mainstream media has unfairly represented President Trump, done little to highlight his accomplishments. You know, it's like, hey, aren't we still a victim? Like, do you agree that, you know, he's really just the victim over there and all this stuff? So this is the type of stuff, like, this is just like going on and on. You can read these for yourselves, but basically he's just saying, like, look, this is just bad. Like, don't you agree that everything's horrible? Do you support American First trade agenda? Like, this is the type of thing where it's like the framing, like, look, it's not collaborative, it's America First. Like, you know, forget China, Mexico, Canada. Okay, like, America First, yes or no? Like, you know, most people are going to be like, yeah, if they're conservative or, you know, for or whatever, right? But the point is like big government socialism, these are kind of like truisms and jingoisms, if you will, that kind of he says that really get people riled up emotionally, which obviously helps them take action, and they're just framed and loaded with the loaded questions. So just remember that. And then the last one, you know, I'm proud to support you, President Trump, blah, blah, blah. I want to help you defeat Biden, the big government socialist Democrats. That's just a whole mouthful of slandering, you know, and mudslinging, but this is what people do in the political agenda. So that's what happens. Like, this is the thing that you need to do for the opposite side, basically to get your result. I mean, I'm not saying you need to do it. I'm saying to win in a presidential election, you know, presidential election at that level, then yeah, okay. But all I'm saying is that this is just hyped up stuff that is saying us versus them, like they're the enemy and blah, blah, blah. And their allies in the mainstream media. And this November, to understand the survey will be a step in the process. Along with my completed survey, I'm enclosing my most generous contribution. So again, not money, not dollars, but my most generous contribution. You can put whatever you want in there. The whole thing is just funny, but like, the reason that I actually did this for you guys is because I want you to know that this is the essence of sales copy, is to not be, you know, super nice, everything, you know, not be like right in the middle, not be a gray area person. You need to be polarizing certain ways. You need to make sure that people love your brand and your product, or they hate it. And if they hate it, they're gonna blog about it or whatever. They're gonna be like passing it to different people who are reviewing it. You're gonna get a bunch of free press or free marketing and whatnot, especially just as much as you're gonna get from your people who are on your actual side, who are rallying to your defense, right? So this is the type of thing that you need to do. You need to remember about scarcity, remember urgency. You need to remember that sometimes the us versus them angle can really work, even if you're attacking straw men, right? Because people want to get a cause and they want to rally behind it. You know, you need to remember to make your calls to actions very, very clear. You need to have repetition. And the fifth thing is like remembering to repeat your offer, repeat your scarcity and urgency, remember your price, repeat your call to action, repeat everything many times to tell them exactly what you're offering so they know exactly what you do. That's it. And then, you know, some of the framing is helpful as well. The techniques, the vocab that the market is using their same exact benefits and pain points. That's number 8, right? Basically like using their exact, you know, mindset then and their emotional bearing, the way that they're feeling in that moment, by saying like, look, isn't this horrible? Isn't this awful? Wouldn't you like to alleviate this pain? Wouldn't you like to have this lifestyle and this type of body and this a relationship, whatever, right? That's the heaven they're going to and the hell that they're running away from. So just remember that you are always incorporating all of these things. and making sure you know your audience, making sure that you know how to write copy to them. And this is the essence of sales copy and direct response marketing. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that, again, you can have your political opinions back. The video is over right now. So I'm gonna open this bag. You can go ahead and reach in there and grab them. Yeah, all right, you can go ahead. And I'll grab mine too. Okay, cool. Thanks for being a mature adult and putting those on ice for a second and being able to actually really just kind of go deeper into your passion for copy, your skill set, your mastering of the actual direct response mindset. And hopefully this was actually valuable to help you understand how you can really make your marketing messages more persuasive, more engaging, more compelling, and really boost your conversions and make sales to your audience. So hope you enjoyed it. Once again, it's Evan from Motive Emotion. I will sign out now and talk to you soon.